Ta-da. So we're really laid back here. Just be yourself. There's nothing. We're not doing rocket surgery, as they say. And so I think Monica, Monica asked me if something was wrong this morning, but I'm in high gear right now. I'm working with the state hospital. I'm all these irons in the fire right now. And so when I rushed in, I was actually running late. So I started throwing the meditation cushions down and hanging this stuff. And I kept catching myself as I was putting the cushions down. I'm like, this is supposed to be about mindfulness. And, this is supposed to be a Buddhist meditation center. And here I am rushing and throwing stuff around, So I kept trying to pull back, and pull back, and pull back, I was just, my mind was somewhere else. So, that's the human condition, right? Am I the only one that feels rushed sometimes? No. You do? Tell me about it.
Yeah. Especially lately, because a lot going on in my life. As soon as I wake up, it's like, I got so much to do and so very little time. And so it's like always constantly I got to go. And sometimes I get too caught up in it. It's like and I'm like rushing things and not doing well. And so you really need to take just a step back, be more calm, and I can be more focused and do a better job and do it actually quicker.
Yeah, definitely. Anybody else?
Sometimes your day goes by so quickly because you generate a list of check boxes that you check, and then by the end of it, you don't really feel like you really accomplished much of anything at all. Like, you washed a bunch of dishes, you mowed the lawn, and you've done a bunch of things you're gonna have to do again tomorrow, but time goes by really quick. I'm at that point in my life where I'm kind of switching from the days which used to feel like they were there forever and now just disappearing.
Can you say that again? I don't think I heard it.
So I'm at the point in my life where the days which seemed to before they dragged on forever, now they're disappearing and they're going by very quickly. Like, been here a year already. They just seems to have gone by really quick, and it seems to be going even faster.
Yeah.
I think personally, because I do the checklist thing as well, but I think it varies day by day. It's maybe not a checklist for the mundane things, the chores that you do every day. And I think there should be kind of ingrained in yourself. But a checklist for like things you would like to accomplish, like things where you want to be going forward in life.
So I've always, when I was early into Buddhism, I was reading about enlightenment. Like, what is a person who's enlightened? What is their life like, right? You have this people you put up on a pedestal, and you're like, if I could just get to that level, if I just read the next book, if I just go to the next meditation center, or go to the next workshop, or go hear this speaker or whatever. I spent a lot of years chasing that. If I could only go to India, if I could only whatever, right? But I remember early on I read this Buddhist scripture saying, it said, before enlightenment, chop wood, haul water. After enlightenment, chop wood and haul water. Can anybody tell me what that kind of means to you?
The simplicity of life and focusing on your breath is what's going to maintain the eternal connection that we are with the divine in our human form.
Absolutely. No, you're wrong. Actually, no. There's a guy here smarter than me. Get him out of here.
That's why I'm quiet.
Nothing changes.
No, but
nothing changes.
yeah.
You still gotta do the things that you have to do. Maybe you do them a little bit more mindful, perhaps, but you still go back to life.
Yeah.
I think that exactly. It's what's within changes.
Right.
There's a time where I would go about doing my daily tasks, but I wasn't enjoying it. I didn't have mindfulness in it. But now I'm doing a lot of the same things, but with a lot of conscious action, and I'm very rich and rewarding and beautiful, and
Right.
all these great things. It's still the same exact world, but it's my eyes that are different, my heart that's different, my mind.
Absolutely. And sometimes that doesn't happen overnight, and sometimes you don't even realize that it's happening. Once you start practicing spiritual reading and meditation and that kind of stuff, sometimes other people see a change in you before you see a change in you, I know my wife always points out, like, wow, you're sitting still for 10 minutes. That's great. You're getting better, Kylie. Keep taking your medication, right? And for me too, I don't really see the changes, but then suddenly there's these aha moments, like I can imagine in my mind this Zen monk, and part of his job is chopping this wood for the fire, and then he's got to go to the river and haul water on these buckets or whatever. And as a novice monk, he's probably pissed off about it, hard work, and God, I hate to be out here in the snow chopping this or whatever. But at some point, like all of us, slowly, subtly over time, his mind is not preoccupied with, I can't wait till this chore is over, I can't wait till I get this water back, or I can't wait till it warms up and winter's over. Suddenly, for just a brief, maybe flash of a moment, it's only the chopping of the wood. It's only the hauling of the water. There are no other thoughts happening. It's just whatever's happening in that moment. And then suddenly, he's gone to the river and back, and he's noticed life is pretty beautiful. Life is pretty great. This is pretty awesome. I'm glad I'm the one that gets to chop wood and haul water. This is wonderful, And that happens to me all the time, The other day I was letting the dogs urinate out in the grass, and I was just standing out there, and I was like, I wish the dogs would hurry up. I got stuff to do or whatever. And I looked down, and there was these tiny yellow flowers in the grass. And they probably come every year, right? And this time of year, they're always there, but this is the first time I noticed them. And then suddenly it wasn't about these damn dogs, I gotta walk them every day and all this stuff. It was like, holy crap, how did those flowers get in the grass? Have they always been there? The same thing with there's some flowers, some bushes in our apartment complex. They've turned white. They have these white flowers all over them now. And I was like, did that happen last year? Because I never noticed it before, And so subtle changes throughout the day where you can be in the present moment. That's all we're trying to do. I don't know anything about enlightenment. I don't know what it feels like to be a Buddha. But I know what it feels like to have my mind racing all the time. I went through years of, it felt like I was trying to solve a problem, but I could never find the solution. And it was anxiety. I was anxious all the time. And for me, I used to have panic attacks. It was strange. I could be very brave in other situations, but I didn't even know about mental health. I didn't even know it was a panic attack. But sometimes I go into the grocery store, and the lights were too bright, and there was too many noises, and there was too many people, and suddenly my heart would start racing. I would start sweating, and I was like, I got to get out of here. And I would leave and come back later, And it wasn't until years later I found out that that's called a panic attack, So now that hasn't happened in years, and slowly but surely, when I find myself racing, or if somebody points it out, like Monica, thank you, I'm able to okay, my knob set at 100. Maybe I should set the knob at 85 for a little while. Does that make sense? All right. So if you've never been here before, we're going to talk a little bit about the Dharma talk that's going to happen in the middle of the service. And then we're going to do some chanting, some sitting meditation, some walking meditation. We're going to attend to the shrine. And then we're going to do the rest of the Dharma talk, and then we'll do some more chanting and things like that. Anybody have any questions? Anybody glad to be here?
Oh, yeah.
Well, what is your experience walking into this building? Is it scary going up the flight of stairs, or this is a creepy old building, or what's the experience coming in here? What's that? It's more woke on the inside. Mm-hmm.
This is my last time here every week.
Yeah.
As soon as I walked in, last Saturday was my first time here. As soon as I walked in, I felt called to go here, but I felt like this is where I'm meant to be. Like there's a divine presence here. As soon as I walked into the building.
Yeah. And I think it probably has something to do with Clubhouse. Everybody talks about San Antonio Clubhouse is a club for people that have a mental health diagnosis, and I help give the tours. And every single day, somebody goes, "Man, this is nothing like I thought it was going to be. It feels like love and acceptance and stuff here. It's awesome, And I can see the anxiety just fall off their shoulders when they get inside the building. On the outside is like, kind of looks like a spaceship or something, but
Like a hospital.
a hospital, yeah. Yeah, people's case managers and doctors and stuff refer them here, and they don't know what to expect, and they walk in the door terrified, and they leave totally happy most of the time, you know. Okay, so we skipped ahead. Well, we're reading The Way of the Bodhisattva by Shantideva. Anybody ever heard of this text? It's written in 700 AD. So we're slowly working our way through this text. And basically, it's about love and compassion. And we talk a lot about something called bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is the love in your heart for yourself and other people, right? And you would think we could live in a world where you don't have to teach this over and over for 2,600 years. You know, Buddha came and said, have bodhicitta, man, love each other, treat each other kind. You know, Jesus did the same thing. But for some reason, we still have to, it still has to reverberate around the universe. We got to remind ourselves to be compassionate with ourselves and remind ourselves to be compassionate with others, you know. And so that's all Shantideva is saying, and he's calling it bodhicitta. It's the opening of the heart, you know. Give somebody the benefit of the doubt. One day they're gonna cut you off in traffic. Next day you'll probably cut them off in traffic. You know, they're just going home the other day. This guy drove by and shot the bird at me because apparently I was going too slow in the fast lane. I was doing like 80. But, you know, he goes, honk, honk. I look over and he's like, beep, beep. You know, and I'm like, oh, man. Like, wow, you know. The old Kylie would have chased him down, you know, and shoot the bird back, you know. But I was just like, oh, man, you know, he's in a rush. He's having a hard day, whatever, you know. So that little flash of even that little thing is bodhicitta, right? I'm not getting pissed off over this deal. Let's give this guy the benefit of the doubt. I don't know what's going on in his life, right? That's bodhicitta. So we skipped over a few verses. One of the verses that we skipped over said that even a single thought of kindness towards another person, it excels, or it's more important than worshiping the Buddha. So that's kind of what makes this religion or philosophy different. Is Buddha never wanted to be worshipped. He never wanted to be a god. He never wanted people to put him up on this pedestal or whatever. Buddha was a dude that practiced really hard and woke up in his life, you know. And then there's a mystical aspect to that as far as all these lives that it took to get to that point. But he never did say, put me up on a pedestal and worship me or whatever. So Shantideva is saying, you can come and you can put 1 billion flowers and fruits and burn incense and all this stuff to the Buddha. That's great. And actually what we're going to talk about here in a second is Shantideva showing us how to practice a form of meditation where we kind of worship the Buddha. But Buddha himself, through Shantideva, is saying, hey, just that single thought of kindness towards somebody else is worth more than 1,000 years of praying to me or worshiping me. Does that make sense? Okay. So there's something called bhakti yoga. Has anybody heard of bhakti yoga? Can somebody give me a definition of that?
I think it's a newer, like in the scale of kind of yogic traditions, it's somewhat newer. I think it came around in like the 1700s, 1800s in India, and I think it has something to do with kind of like taking a lot of the kind of dogmatic like worship practice out of yoga and into a more sort of like enlightened philosophy.
Yeah.
Like I don't really know a lot about it, but I know like that is a thing.
Yeah. Well, a part of it is your practice is focusing on your guru or a deity, which is the actual practice aspect of that. And it's like the love and devotion. You visualize your guru and you give out love and devotion, and that is one of your main practices. So Shantideva is going to tell us here that in order to work up that bodhicitta in your heart, you can visualize the Buddha, and you can visualize putting in your mind's eye. The form of meditation is visualizing Buddha and putting flowers and fruits and all these things out in front of the Buddha. And so one of the reasons he says this is, just like me running around throwing all these cushions down and stuff, one of the practices that I could do is stop for just a minute and visualize the Buddha. And that will bring me down, turn that knob down a little bit. And then if I had a little bit more time, I could visualize the Buddha sitting there, the statue or whatever, and I could visualize myself bringing flowers and fruit and lighting incense and doing these things. And I could turn that into a whole like hour-long practice where I sit here and visualize the Buddha, and I'm just giving offerings, and then the offerings get more and more. Maybe I'm putting jewels, maybe I'm putting diamonds, maybe I'm putting, rainbows or whatever, and it doesn't matter what you're visualizing. All you're doing is working with your own mind. You're staying focused, and you're putting that knob down lower and lower and lower until I'm not worried about work on Monday morning. I'm not worried about my divorce. I'm not worried about blah, blah, blah. Does that make any sense? All right. So do you have your chant books? We're going to go to page 3. And here at Woke House, we have a thing where if you don't do this perfectly, you have to leave, right? No, just kidding. None of us know how to do this very well, including my